Hi, I'm Alice.
And I'm Greg.
And today we have some Halloween stories for you.
Legends of haunted Coyoacán.
Stories of brujas and fantasmas.
And Nahualas.
Nahualas. So Nahualas are these ancient entities that are said to commune with nature. And you can still feel them in the viveros of Coyoacán.
People say that they still exist in the viveros of Coyoacán.
And actually all over Mexico. So these are traditions that have been passed down for years. They go back to pre-Columbian times, and they're still there.
And and as a special treat, we're taking you to one of the most haunted locations in Mexico City, or purportedly haunted locations, El Callejón del Aguacate,
where there have been many paranormal investigators that have gone and researched it, and they say, yes, it's like
the ghost hunter
approved.
Ghost hunter approved. We have been there on several occasions. Today we're going during the day because it is a little creepy at night.
Coyoacán is a beautiful neighborhood in the southern part of Ciudad de Mexico. It's filled with old colonial casonas, tree-lined streets, and history.
In many ways, Coyoacán feels different from the rest of the city. It moves a little slower than the bustling metropolis. The buildings are shorter and the avenues are wider. Cobblestone streets wreak havoc on car alignment, and the trees stick out their roots in front of pedestrians to watch them trip or lose their balance.
Coyoacán is remote and quiet, but it's not sleepy. It has attracted its fair share of luminaries. It was once the home of La Malinche, Hernán Cortés, Frida Kahlo, Leon Trotsky, to name just a few.
Diego Rivera.
But today, we don't want to talk about the famous people who lived here. Instead, we want to talk about those who died. Or maybe they just became undead.
Among the legends of Coyoacán is La Bruja de Fuego, La Nahuala. A Nahual is a shapeshifter who can shed their skin and appear to be something else. Most commonly they take on animal forms, but not always. The word Nahual comes from ancient Nahuatl. It means skin clothing. Nahuals are believed to have a spiritual connection with nature, a connection that gives them special powers.
Some Nahuals are believed to use their powers to heal and help others. Not all are evil, like the one in this legend. This myth is about a Nahuala, a witch or shaman, who took the shape of a beautiful young woman.
It wasn't long before the beautiful young woman caught the eye of a rich and handsome gentleman who fell in love and married her. The newlyweds were very happy at first. The man couldn't believe his luck. Aside from being beautiful, the woman was a wonderful cook, and her specialty, the delicacy blood sausage. But not all was well. Children began to disappear on nights of the full moon, with much of the town's suspicion falling on the beautiful young wife. A friend of the nobleman told him what the people in Coyoacán were saying about his wife, but he shrugged it off as superstitious jealousy. Still, the fact that his wife would be missing on nights of the full moon and would invariably cook up a batch of blood sausage on the following day gave him reason to worry. The night of the next full moon, the man carefully hid himself in the kitchen of their casona and kept watch. His wife appeared near midnight and set a large copper pot of water to boil over the fire. Then the man saw something that nearly made him faint. The woman began to shake until her flesh slid off of her body and coiled into a pile on the floor, leaving only what looked like a ball of flame floating in the air where the woman had been. The Nahuala, who was now only a ball of malevolent fire, floated out of an open window and disappeared into the night. The husband gathered his wits and ran to the house of his friend, who returned to the casona with him. Seeing the pile of skin on the kitchen floor, the friend insisted that they had to burn it before the Nahuala came back, leaving the evil spirit without a body to inhabit. They hurriedly cremated the skin of his wife and hid themselves to await her return. Just as the rooster began to crow for the rising sun, the ball of flame returned, carrying with it the body of a young child. Unable to find its own human body, the Nahuala let out an unearthly scream, dropped the body of the child, and flew out the window into the daylight, never to return. She disappeared forever. Or did she?
El Soldado y el Niño. Our next story takes place in the Santa Catarina neighborhood of Coyoacán. The story is Coyoacan's most famous haunting. Mexico in the early 20th century was in a state of constant struggle. The Mexican Revolution took place from 1910 to 1920. The country was war-weary, but in recovery. This is where our story picks up. It was 1930. A soldier was coming home from battle, back to the calm haven that is the neighborhood of Santa Catarina. He had fought in the Mexican Revolution and had witnessed the atrocities of war. His bravery had earned him many medals, but the experience had also left him with war scars and post-traumatic stress. The soldier made it a habit to take long walks every day, believing that exercise and fresh air would help him recover from his mental war wounds. Each morning, he would bathe, shave, and put on his clean, pressed uniform, which was adorned with the medals he had earned. His walks took him through an alleyway canopied with lush trees. A little boy who lived nearby played in that alley. The little boy was fascinated by the soldier's tidy uniform and shiny medals. He invited the soldier to play a game with him, but the soldier declined. This continued for a long time. Every time the soldier passed by, the little boy would ask him, "¿Quieres jugar conmigo?" Each time, the answer was the same, until one day the soldier lost his temper. The little boy's insistence launched him into a rage, and he strangled the child. Some versions of this story tell of a monk who witnessed the incident from a nearby balcony and whose testimony would send the soldier to jail. In other versions, there is no monk, but what follows is essentially the same. The soldier went to jail. Upon his release, the soldier was even more troubled, deeply disturbed by what he had done. He built a small altar with the image of the Virgen del Carmen in the alleyway where he had strangled the little boy, in hopes that people would stop and offer a prayer for their souls.
But perhaps the prayers only feed the sadness of this place. People who stop to pray or pass through the alley after midnight claim that the image of La Virgen cries tears of blood for the innocent child who died there. As the years passed, visitors began leaving offerings of candy and toys for the spirit of the small child, who is said to still pull at the clothing of passers-by and call out to them, "¿Quieres jugar conmigo?"
If you want to know how to get to the Callejón del Aguacate, go to the center of town where the Coyotes fountain is, and then you walk through those ancient arches, the arches that used to belong to a convent in Coyoacán, and Greg has them pictured there.
Right, and then head down Francisco Sosa. Just keep walking until you get to Pino.
And then turn left on Pino until you get to La Ruta de la Seda. There's a very popular restaurant on that corner.
Then head, grab a coffee, and then head down La Calle de Aguacate to the end where it narrows and becomes El Callejón del Aguacate. And then keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, watch out for ghosts. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Don't forget to subscribe.